Good afternoon, everyone. Our topic for today is Lesson 10 Soul Making, Appropriation, and Improvisation. Through history, art has played an integral role to capture, record, and communicate events, activities, traditions, and even belief system of various groups of people. Even Paleolithic societies have found ways to record events despite the unavailability or limited access to various tools. In essence, art has been an instrument to reflect the things and events that transpired in the past so that the future generation can have a glimpse of the past. Soul making and deriving meaning from art. In order for humans to make sense of language and derive meanings from words, semantics and grammatical rules are important limits to be considered. Aside from this, context and symbolism are also considered to interpret and analyze either verbal or written works. When it comes to art, in order for people to make sense of the work, it would require understanding the visual elements where art was grounded on especially the principles of design. It is important to note that the audience of the artwork must have a certain level of awareness to the style, form, and content of the said work. Without such understanding, it would be difficult to appropriate the visual arts in its fullness and entirety. Next is the style. Style refers to the distinctive handling of elements and media associated with the work of an individual artist, a school, a movement, or a specific culture or time period. Throughout history, there have been developments in art styles that depict different and varied methods of expression. Artworks also have a certain form. This form is what the audience sees, a finished product put harmoniously or not according to the different principle of design. In essence, form is the totality of the artwork, which include the textures, colors, and shapes utilized by the artist. The content of an artwork includes not only its form but also its subject matter and underlying meanings or themes. The perceiver of the artwork must take into consideration the totality of elements, underlying themes, and motifs and composition.
So now let's proceed to a improvisation. So improvisation can be defined as doing something without prior preparation. Within the present context, improvisation has become an integral part of the arts. So for the artist, infusing spontaneity and improvisation adds up to the totality of the work of art. The unexpectedness of the changes brought about by improvisation makes the artwork to have a distinctive quality that creates its individuality and identity. So during the 1960s, art improvisation has taken form in the galleries from New York City. Performance art, dance, and visual arts were combined to create new forms of artworks using a new medium. So, one of the central figures in the improvisation movement was George Matthew. He has started the action painting, wherein the process is seen real time. So, the improvisation or creating without prior preparation is now crucial in the arts. It adds spontaneity and a uniqueness, giving artworks their distinctive identity. So, in the 1960s, New York City galleries saw the rise of art improvisation, blending performance, dance, and visual arts into new forms. So George Matthew is a central figure pioneered action painting, where the creation process happens in real time, showcasing the artwork's development live.
Good day everyone. We are Group 4. Appropriation. Appropriation of art has been a common practice throughout history. In the past of appreciates, painters needs to hone his skills in his crafts. He would be allowed to use her masterwork to copy. There seems to be very thin demarcations line between appropriation art and forgery. Traditional forgery can be classified into two forms: outline sculptures of exacting works and virtues when are work that bring together elements from a work and enforcing them to a new work, but in temporary times. Forgery can be in the form of creating a approximate of what an artist would be by prediction. One of the most famous work of appropriation work have to be Andy Warhol's Campbell Soft Cans, 1962. World capture and original levels of the soft but deliberately fill up the entire picture's plane. The idea of putting together of the soft cans in something new for the audience, just like a product, the brand is integral to compromise in identity. As an artist, I decided to insulate the image of the product. This empathy could in turn stimulate products regulation. There is the notion that art should be perceived as something that would enrich the experience of the adventurers and the artistries to piece together all the elements around on design rules. As a modern painter started to emerge and from vintage of art was from Carlo Francisco Bigalon, Ocampo and Idadis. The 1960 proved to be a period of modernism and dynamism with a lot of styles, technologies, and method emerging.
Good day, so my report is all about Lesson 11, Art in Asia. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to identify key influences to Chinese art. When ancient civilization in Asia flourished, trade became a very important activity. So, in the process of establishing trading relationship among Asian countries, they started sharing their culture and belief system. So, ang kadto kuno trading nahitabo or we call it sa ato barter, paghitabo kuno sa barter or trading, ang duha ka ang Philippines ug China. For example, ang Philippines ug China nagkuan sila trading system. So ang ilang kuan relationship is na-adapt pod sa Philippines. While ang China pod gi-adapt pod nila ang mga culture and beliefs sa China for them to communicate while having the trading. So, China, being one of the oldest civilization in Asia, has a rich history when it comes to culture and the arts. Most of their cultural and even religious beliefs and practices are represented through different artworks, while Japan was initially influenced by China in terms of arts. So si China ang pinaka-oldest nga civilization sa Asia. Siya ang pinakadaghang history when it comes to culture and arts. So si China siya ang ga-influence sa Japan in terms sa ilang arts. Chinese art. In the present context, China is the forefront of economic development. Siya ang leading siya ang nangunguna in terms of economic development ang China because its booming economy has led to its modernization. So ang iyang umuunlad na country is naka-influence siya na mag-modernize ang ilang country. In addition, history shows that China has been at the leading edge of development, especially in terms of cultural development. Inhabitants of China in the past were able to produce primitive artisan works. Excavated pieces show bronze vessels with intricate design depicting a lot of imaginary dating from a second millennium before Christ's era. The Chinese during the Zhou dynasty was under a feudal kind of social system. So, during kuno sa Zhou dynasty sa mga Chinese, naa kuno'y away na nahitabo about sa ilang social system. It was parallel period with that of Greece's Golden Age, a period when culture, particularly art, has flourished tremendously. During this period, metal works befitting the royal family were produced in abundance. Jade was a popular choice of material for artworks. So during Greece's Golden Age, the culture of China is particularly art has flourished. So ang during sa na wala kuno na flourish kuno diretso ang art sa Chinese. Ilang gipulihan og mga metal works instead na mga for example kana mga bronze vessel or mga gialis na nila metal gifit nila sa mga royal family muna siyang nagproduce sila daghan. So one of the ilang material na gigamit is si jade. Muna siyang pinaka popular material sa paggamit nila sa artworks.
Confucianism was the dominant way of life subscribed to by the general public. Those who subscribed to principle espoused by Confucius believed that in order for society to work, one must learn how to sympathize to others. These principles became evident in most artworks depicting everyday life and how these social interactions come to play. The Chinese during the Zhou dynasty was under a feudal kind of social system. It was a parallel period with that of Greece's Golden Age, a period when culture, particularly art, has flourished tremendously. During this period, metalworks befitting the royal family were produced in abundance. Jade was also a popular choice of material for artworks. Next is the porcelain is one of the most commonly used items to make decorative ornament such as vases and jars. Some artifacts from excavation sites show intricate works the Chinese in these porcelain vases. This can be attributed to the tradition of passing down the artistry from one generation to the next. Just like most Chinese artworks, the focal point in these vases depicts a central theme, nature.
They believe that man is an integral part of nature, ensuring that there is a certain balance in it. But part of their culture is emphasizing a form of social life, giving importance to communities and interactions. In addition, some of common overarching themes of Chinese artworks included everyday activities, war and violence, death, and nature. It can also be noted that Chinese artworks are infused with a lot of symbolisms. So ang artwork kuno sa mga Chinese is na ay daghan na mga symbolism, daghag meaning. Art becomes an avenue for the artist to convey his reflections of the things he is aware.
So let's proceed to a Japanese art. So art in Japan has undergone a series of transitions and periodization, from being an isolated nation to that of embracing Western influences and modernization. Japan has transitioned into a modern cultural mixing pot. It is evident how the Japanese were able to infuse local and indigenous materials with modern Western subjects and focal points. So, art in Japan has indeed experienced significant transitions and periodization. And initially, an isolated nation, Japan has progressively embraced Western influences and modernization, transforming into a modern cultural melting pot. This transition is evident in how Japanese artists incorporated local materials with Western subjects and focal points, reflecting a blend of tradition and innovation. So the Japanese style of painting leaned towards abstract and naturalistic handling. So the Japanese style of painting is characterized by a unique blend of abstraction and naturalism. So the artists often employ techniques that emphasize the essence of their subjects while maintaining a connections to the natural world. So, this approach allows for both expressive freedom and a deep appreciation for the beauty found in the everyday life. So, in essence, the artist is given the free rein for his work, which had more room for spontaneity and individuality. So many artists focus on individual portraits, elements of nature, and scenes from everyday life in creating their artworks. So these statements underscores the artistic freedom afforded to artists, the enabling them to express spontaneity and individuality in their work. So many artists concentrated on portraying individual portraits, natural elements, and everyday sense, showcasing their unique perspectives and creative interpretations. So, although the Chinese influenced them, the Japanese adopted a more minimalist take on their paintings. So, this is a stark contrast in the extravagant and sometimes over the top designs of the Chinese. So, the Japanese adopted a minimalist approach to painting in contrast to the more extravagant style of the Chinese. Despite Chinese influence, this divergence highlights then a distinct aesthetics, preferences, and cultural interpretations between the two nations. So the Japanese also developed a kind of painting called the ukiyo-e, which was crafted through woodcut prints. So the artists developed a technique that used lines and colors in every distinctive manner. Some Western artists were intrigued and influenced by these ukiyo-e paintings. So, the Japanese pioneered ukiyo-e painting, utilizing woodcut prints characterized by unique use of lines and colors. So, this technique intrigued and influenced some Western artists, showcasing the global impact of Japanese artist innovation. Japanese artistic innovation. So we have here an example of woodcuts of Hiroshige. So an example would be the woodcuts of Hiroshige and Sharaku, who had a lasting impact on Western artists like Vincent van Gogh and Edward Manet.
Everyone, so I'll be discussing the Philippine art. So what is in the Philippine art? Philippine art, so throughout the Philippine history, spanning from the pre-colonial period to the contemporary periods, different art forms have emerged in the Philippine art scene. Before the colonizers came to the Philippines, ethnic minorities have used art not only for daily activities, but also for religious rituals and practices. Most art forms used by ethnic communities include pottery, weaving, carving, and the use of metalwork and jewelry. So the pottery is said to be one of the earliest art forms used by the early Filipino people. One of the most prominent artifacts related to pottery is a manungal jar, found in Palawan. This jar is a representation of the early Filipinos' religious beliefs and practices. It serves as the burial jar, which depicts two men rowing a boat. This reflects their belief in an afterlife. The crossing of the body of water is a transition from the life here on earth unto the next era.
Hey everyone, this is Loy Gako from Group 4 Reporter. Weaving was also one of the earliest forms of the art expression in the Philippines. One of the most popular artisans of weaving is the people from the Cordilleras. They are known for their colorful woven cloth, which also have both religion and practical value. The Tibuli people from Mindanao are also known for their woven abaca cloth called tinalak. They use this particular cloth to make ornaments, which also present the belief through symbols cloth to make. Weaving holds a significant place in the Philippines culture, with artisans from various regions showcasing their unique style and techniques. The people of the Cordilleras are renowned for their vibrant woven cloth, which holds both religious and practical significance. Similarly, the Tibuli tinalak, a type of woven abaca cloth, the intricate craft not only serves practical purposes but also serve as a canvas for expressing their beliefs or culture through symbolic designs. That's all. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good day, and I am Jansen Ipanto from the Group 4 Reporter. So our topic for today is the wood carvings. So wood carving from Palawan also depict animals like birds, which are representation of their religious beliefs. According to local stories, the birds serve as messengers of the people to the heavens and vice versa. In Mindanao, the Tausug and Maranao people are known for their ochre, which are design applied to their wood carvings. So wood carving is a traditional art form that involves shaping wood into intricate design like sculptures and decorative objects, using carving tools such as chisels, knives, and gauges. Wood carving can range from simple design to highly detailed and elaborate pieces, showcasing the skills and creativity of the artist. Another one is carving can be found in various cultures around the world, each with its unique styles and techniques. This art form has been practiced for centuries, with wood carvings often being used for religious, ceremonial, decorative, and functional purposes. So the process of wood carving typically involves selecting the right type of wood, planning the design, carving the wood using different tools, and finishing the piece with techniques like sanding, staining, and varnishing. Skilled carvers can create intricate patterns, realistic figures, and ornate decorations, showcasing the beauty and versatility of wood as medium for artistic expression. So that's all for the topic of wood carvings.
Their common subjects include the sarimanok, naga, and the paku rabo. Each subject is a representation for a certain theme or motive, but generally, these symbols depict their beliefs as a people. The sarimanok is a stylized design of a mythical bird, either standing on a fish or holding a piece of fish, its beak. The story of the Sarimanok was a certain figure to a number of legends. One narrative tells the origin of the word Sarimanok. The Naga forms an S shape depicting an elaborate figure of a mythical dragon or serpent. The numerous curved lines serving as a detail for the figure depict. The scales, the pakurabong on the other hand is like growing fern with a broad base. The fern gracefully stems and tapers upward. The sarimanok and the naga usually used as ornamental designs for the houses of the sultans. Artists focused on a modern takes when it comes into content, form, and subject matter. In addition, a debate emerged on whether art should be done as proletarian art or art of art's sake. As modern painting started to emerge, a triumvirate of the artists was formed: Carlos Francisco Galo B. Ocampo and Idades. In 1960s proved to be a period modernism and dynamism with a lot of styles, techniques, and methods emerging. Most artworks were reflections of the political, social, and economic situation of the Philippines during the Marcos administration. It was a period where people embodied the advocated for nationalist ideas. This is the reason why there are paradigm shift of subject in the artworks.